Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly energy update for empaths and energetically sensitives. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a professional energy healer and energy coach. And today I'm here to help you to put words to what it is that you're experiencing, to be able to better contextualize what is going on in your body, with your emotions, with your overall energy. Okay, as energetically sensitives, as empaths, is very, very difficult for us to talk to other people about it. And I'm so glad I am seeing you guys here. And yes, you're sending me the first hearts. That's wonderful. So we come together here to discuss these things, for you to share, for you to let us know how you're feeling, and for others who have been feeling like this and who already worked with this, perhaps found out what works for them, to share this. Now today I want to make a special announcement. At 5 p.m., that is in 5 hours from now, I am having a special here on Facebook and Instagram for the discussion of what these energies, what these experiences, what these entities are that we are sometimes experiencing in our dream state and meditations, or throughout our daily life. This is a special for you guys. I hope you come. It's an AMA, Ask Me Anything. Okay, so I really want you guys to have a chance here to ask, no matter how woo-woo the question. All right, and those of you on Instagram, you can actually log on live and ask your question live, if you will. Everybody else will have to text, we'll have to use the live chat. So I hope to see you in 5 hours here for this empath special, this awakening essential special for all of you. Many of you guys are having issues right now, and I've announced this last week. There's a heavy 7th chakra, crown chakra influence here. This triggers our connection to the cosmic energies out there. It triggers our awareness for the astral energies. And I don't want to talk too much about this here right now, because we have the special about this at 5 p.m. But I want you to understand that if you are feeling super, super heavy, if you're feeling like your body is too heavy to carry around, if you're feeling you just want to cave in and you really, really don't feel fit for 3D, for this 3D life, guys, understand that this is part of your energetic sensitivity. Okay, this is not something that just you experiencing. The problem, though, is with the people around you, and why it's so difficult sometimes to talk to other people about this, is that they are not understanding that this could be something that has to do with their perception. All right, and so they think they're getting sick, or they're creating some kind of drama, to get in a timeout, or to blame this onto others. So I want you guys to become super, super aware that these ups and downs that you're experiencing, that this has nothing to do with anything being wrong with you. This is about you getting a new pair of eyes. You are developing your 8th sense right now, your deeper inner mind's vision. Okay, and of course, there are some aspects, some physical aspects involved in this. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm sure you've heard about the pineal gland, and you've heard about your pituitary gland, and how they link you into this higher perception. But the point, though, is that as empaths and energetically sensitives, we feel this as a burden. We feel like this is heavy on us because it makes our life hard. If we are female empaths, it's like another thing to deal with, okay? And it's very common that we sometimes feel that this is kind of like a curse. But I want you guys to reframe this here. And this next week is such a week that allows us to see things perhaps from a different perspective, in a never before clarity. I called this energy update Straddling Two Worlds. And by the way, I just realized that there's the wrong number. This is energy update number 38. for September the 15th till 21st. So that we are straddling in two worlds simultaneously. And this is also why you see here, you on Facebook see this here. The energy barometer, that's the intensity gauge for next week, is bifurcated. There's an arrow that points into two directions. And that means that depending on how you frame, depending on how you contextualize, depending on how you understand what is going on, you might feel super, super active, super, super invigorated, and feel like you can really connect with your true self and express, your inner truth, to find your inner voice. Or you can go into this typical issue that we all have, that comes in form of our mind, in form of our ruminating, in form of our mental looping, as we call it. All right, if you get caught in mental looping, guys, next week, understand that it's all about you understanding that this energetic sensitivity and you being an empath, that this is part of who you are. You are not just a body. You're not just thoughts. You're not just emotions. You are also a spiritual entity. You are also a soul. And as energy work teaches us, you are also a very complex composition of an energy signature. You are an energy body. All right? So this view here, what I've been doing for years for you, to bring in the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the energetic into perspective with another, is what allows you to recognize this. Is what allows you to recognize that you are, in fact, a soul with a body, and not a body with a soul. All right? So this is the main teaching here of this next week. And until then, today is Thursday, so I predicted a really cool week this week, and I know that some of you are already struggling, all right? And this has to do with this opening of your higher perception, and this takes place here. And I don't know if you've had this. I had this. A lot of people had this. Besides this, this physical heaviness and emotional overwhelm, lost, detached feeling. All right, you may have also had migraines this week, nausea, and also something that came in last week that's still going around. It's like a weird, bug, like a cold virus, but it's not coming to full expression. You may just sneeze a little bit and feel your sinuses a little stuck up, so that doesn't make it easier. This next week, we're going to have even more pressure, guys, on our sixth chakra, on our inner truth, on the actual seeing part. And here is where it gets really interesting. This is why I'm seeing this next week sort of as a bipolar week. It can go either way, and you may actually find yourself in places where it goes either way a couple times a day. And that is that you remember how I said in the beginning, you are getting a new pair of eyes. And these eyes are allowing you to see things differently. Just don't misunderstand this as a visual seeing. This isn't actually your eye nerve, your sight nerve that is being upgraded. It is actually something that is much deeper, a sense that all humans have, but we're up until now in our human evolution, the conditions weren't right for us to actually tap into this. This is happening right now. This has a lot to do with all these energies speeding up, the Earth's electromagnetic frequency, and a lot of these other fields that we are in, and the overall pace of life is speeding up, all right? So it's almost like we are becoming better multitaskers. And as we are developing this new sense, we are also, of course, experiencing the adaptation problems, the transition problems, and that is that our body often can't take that speed, can't take that higher frequency. not to bore you with science here, but frequency means speed, okay? That's a waveform, okay? That when there's a higher frequency, that it, increases in speed and amplitude, meaning intensity, all right? And our bodies, if we haven't really taken good care of our bodies, if we haven't really taken good care of our bodies, what happens is that our body kind of, sort of says, hang on, hang on, hang on, slow down. And this is why, meditation, mindfulness, all these techniques that help us to find to this place within us of inner stillness and inner peace, and meditation and, slow movements, such as yoga and so forth, why these are so needed in these times. So there is a really important place for mindfulness right now, not just for those of us who sort of awaken in a spiritual sense. This isn't necessarily a spiritual awakening, guys. This is a awakening into your new humanhood, so to speak, a new level of experiencing being a human, all right? And so what we need is to take good care of these aspects that are involved in this transition. You got to shape up with your body. You got to work on your emotional literacy. You got to work on how to express your state. When it comes to talking about energetic sensations and experiences, and I'll talk a little more about this in the 5 p.m. special here today, it has a lot to do with your subjectivity. And subjectivity means that you're going to have to find your own lexicon of sensations and experiences. You're going to have to develop this ability to describe, how you're feeling. And if you are only looking at your own state as good or bad, or right or wrong, or effective or non-effective, if you look at it sort of in this binary, in this linear and dualistic way, then this will not be enough as a vocabulary, as a lexicon for you to understand what it is that you're experiencing. So one of these things that we do here at transCODES in this energy training that we do is that we help people first to build this vocabulary, and to even learn to discern between your physical sensations, your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings, and your hunches. Those are all different things, all right? And we have to learn how to work with them and how to integrate them into our being. And what this then does is that it helps us to detach from the thinkingness that we all have. There's nothing we can do about this, guys. You'll always think, okay? This has to do with also with energies ultimately, but it has to do with how we are constructed, okay? So we are linked into this collective Wi-Fi, okay, with our brains. But besides this astral Wi-Fi, there is another Wi-Fi that has a much higher broadband, broadwidth, and that is the divine Wi-Fi, as I often call it. And this is the part here, guys, that you are, or your bodies, and your energy body as a holistic sort of entity, is learning to tap into, is learning to work with. And that's what you are experiencing right now, guys. You are experiencing this confusion between the old ways of experiencing yourself and the world, which were, at least most of us here in this, Western world have been trained, have been conditioned to be objective, to say things in a way that are non-emotional. Many of us have found, something that helps us to manage our emotions through thinking or through being sort of almost clinical about our emotions. And here now, and this next week will show you this. So if you want to pay extra attention next week to this, when something is coming in, as we call this in energy lingo, take some time to feel it. This is about feeling, guys. This is about how you are processing things. As an energy worker, guys, as an energy trainer, I train professionals how to integrate energy work into their professions, no matter which one it is. The first thing you realize is that when people become aware of their energies, there's a whole new way of metabolizing information. This is a whole new signal processing, neurology that starts forming in you, which is also why this is so difficult for psychology. So unless we bring these things together, then we can see how all this works together. All right, but we have to allow ourselves to feel. And here is again this limitation that we think it's not okay. We judge what we feel, and we're afraid to be diagnosed as delusional. Or if you're a little older, like me, you've gone through several phases of being ridiculed, being shunned or punished or laughed at, So at some point, you realize that all this is just a matter of reframing. Those of you who are empaths, who are energetically sensitives, who struggled in the past, guys, I have very good news for you. You guys are going to be needed. You guys are going to be the guides, the way showers, the healers, and the coaches. Because if somebody starts awakening to this, they have absolutely no way to exist in this sort of higher frequency world, okay? And they'll experience it as disaster, as chaos, as struggle. And they'll resort, and this is really what I want you to understand, as coping mechanism to drugs, to alcohol, to toxic, relationships and so forth, as means to process these signals, really, that they cannot process. So it's really important that you go into this honesty it's really important that you go into this honesty next week with yourself. It's really about allowing yourself, allocating this space and time, as I called it last week, for all of your sensations, for all of your feelings, for all of your thoughts. And you don't have to identify with either. You can frame it as like, okay, I am sort of like a computer who gets a broader, a higher processing speed right now, except for we aren't computers, but this is what it's comparable with. And all of a sudden you receive so much more information than you did before. And for your software, your apps and so forth, to process that requires you to consciously participate in this. All right, so don't get caught in your own duality next week, guys. This is going to be very tempting, to either resort to your coping or caving in, seeing other people as hostile, or seeing the world sort of going to shit. Those things are very dualistic judgments. Okay, the truth of it is that we all as humans here have received an upgrade. Okay, and not everybody is willing or is wanting that kind of upgrade, and not everybody is able to work with this. This needs to be learned. So this is why we need you guys. This is why the world needs you. You are the ones that have already felt this ahead of time. By the way, this is also one of the reasons why many of you report to me that the things that I predicted for this next week are spot on, but this is exactly what you're feeling right now. So energetically sensitives and empaths, they feel energies coming in. And the more, or the more differentiated your perception is, and the more you are connected with yourself and this divine Wi-Fi, this divine consciousness, the easier for you it becomes to see what is yours and what isn't. And how this is translating for you. So you can say to yourself, for example, I'm feeling very heavy. And then as a habit, as a new routine, you could use, for instance, deep breathing. I recommend I am breathing. This is something that I've been talking about for 10 years. It's a clearing and grounding technique, a very, very simple. And ask yourself, is this mine? What am I truly feeling right now? And what you will find a lot of times is that you feel it's not yours, but then there's also a part of you in there. And this is the part here that you need to work with then. This is so to speak, the lesson of the day or the lesson of the week for you. If something comes in from the outside and it can latch on and dominate your experience, well, then it is yours. Okay, whether it came from the outside as a collective sort of development, like a weather condition, or whether this is something that got triggered by certain experiences that you have at the moment, doesn't matter. If it sticks to you, that means there's something there that you need to work through. Yes, and I see you guys, and I would love to hear from you if you want to share this here in the comments, how you are perceiving these times right now. Sandy, I see your post. You've been feeling physically heavy and really tired and fatigued. Yes. I want to say that this is probably the most typical comment on this energy right now. And Sandy and everybody else who's feeling this way, this is a bit of a prelude only. Okay, this is going to get heavier here tomorrow and Saturday. Why can I say this with such certainty? Because our energies are also connected to things like the lunar cycle. And we have a very, very heavy, very, very deep full moon coming up on Saturday, guys. Okay, so, this weekend can bring in a lot of this caving in a type of notion. But it can also be really, really beautiful, for you to really allocate this time, just take this weekend to really connect with yourself and nurture this relationship with your soul, with your true self. All right, so don't resist it. Most of the physical symptoms and emotional symptoms come through the resisting. The mental symptoms that we have, this looping and this ruminating and the anxiety, that comes from not being able to frame this correctly, from being confused, from being overwhelmed. So being able to put a name to it, being able to label it, helps a little bit, okay? But you still have to work through this. Understand that this is that your own ego's duality, the black and white seeing and thinking, that this is the actual transformation that you are going through. You are learning how to transcend your ego, how to transcend dualism, all right, in order to connect with a broader reality. And this broader reality is also commonly called truth. All right. Thank you for sharing, Sandy. Yes, keep posting here, guys. And let other people know what works for you. I'll talk about this in the energy tips for the Patreon supporters here in a little bit. I just want to give you guys a heads up. If you have this like a really strong sixth chakra, third eye pressure, this often comes in with strong temple pressure, slightly in your forehead, and also sinus pressure. So it feels almost like this pressure from behind your eyes, like that, as if it wants to make your eyes pop out. I use a very strong and highly concentrated Japanese mint oil and put it here slightly below my nasal cavities, on my throat, and also on my tongue. It's Japanese mint oil is way higher concentrated than just a regular mint, and it's not the same as spearmint. But you need like literally like 1 drop or 2 drops. A bottle is, I think it's like €8. You can order this on Amazon, and it lasts you for 2 years or 3 years. Yeah, lavender is also a very good, scent, tea, infusion. that can help you to calm yourself when it gets a little too heavy. But when you go through these heaviness times, it's important that you don't go too slow, all right? That you don't cave in too much and that you start feeling depressed, all right? So use what you can, what you know that helps you, and don't underestimate that the connection with the divine, all right, requires, listen carefully, requires you to be able to connect in a healthy way in general. Your general relationships, people that you connect with, are the foundation for you to connect with the divine, and vice versa. All right? So don't isolate. All right? Reach out. Talk to other people. You can always call me for a free initial coaching session. Better say, email me. You can come to our Empath forum. We have so many outlets here at transCODES dealing with these symptoms of this transition into, sort of a higher broadband. Yes, Grace Denise is sharing creativity works for her to allow her to go into deeper inner connection and with it expression. So it's actually, the deeper connection, Grace Denise, comes from the expression. So when you know who you are and when you can be true to yourself and you express that, all right, then you feel more connected. Yes. Okay. So as every week we have a giveaway, and I couldn't create the picture for it, so you guys all have an equal chance here right now. I'm going to give away 2 tickets for the Etheric Protection Intensive. These energy training intensives, I do them once a month, are extremely useful for those of you who are awakening to this and who want to go a little deeper than just what you can see on YouTube or elsewhere. All right, this is actually online. This is a real life energy training. I take your energy, send your energy through an energy process that allows you to see more, and simultaneously I watch your energies, how they're responding to this, and where you have hiccups and where you have blocks and so forth. So this weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, it's one session each of these days, and in between we do forum coaching and reporting and feedback and so forth. This weekend we have the Etheric Protection Weekend that teaches you how to protect your energy from absorbing other people's energies, from becoming more aware of where you can sort of triangulate yourself in this sort of bigger world, this astral world out there, and what not to do, and what your temptations are, and why you get into trouble, say, with people who project a lot, or why you tend to be the energetic doormat for others. Okay, so I'm giving away 2 tickets, and all you need to do is type into the comments, and this starts right now. I want to learn my energy body. I want to learn my energy body. This sounds a bit weird, but it's easier to type. I want to learn my energy body. 2 tickets for those of you who type this into the comment right now. And if you are not one of the winners, you can also, of course, buy a ticket for this intensive. So this is full on all weekend, and you can participate on it added from all over the world, because we use remote energy to facilitate the training. All right, guys, I'm going to go off here now to record the energy tips for our Patreon supporters and heart warriors. Take this week with knowing that it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but try to see it as an opportunity. The reason why this energy barometer, it goes either way, is because which way it goes is in your hands. It depends on how you see it. If you can really see this as an opportunity for you to grow into your energy body and to understand what it means to be a soul with a body and not just a body with a soul, all right, then this is a really, really cool week for you. Okay, If you want to know more about entities, energies, and those weirdo experiences that we all have with our third eye awakening, then come back here, Facebook and Instagram live at 5 p.m. today, Thursday, Eastern time. This is New York time. So for those of you in Europe, this is what is this? Yeah, like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. For those of you in Asia and Australia, anywhere from 5 a.m. to 3 to 5 a.m. So if you have a sleepless night, maybe come in and ask live questions. You can ask me anything about those weirdo experiences, entities, darkness, the whole 9 yards. Okay, I see you again in a few hours. Wishing you a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in. Share the videos and subscribe to my newsletter if you want to get notifications. Bye bye.